Welcome back. We're here to cover the karmic third party energy. And for those of you that don't know, I am your host, Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. I cover the intuitive attribute of the readings, being a clairvoyant, psychic medium, and intuitive astrologer. Yes, we do cover these weekly. So if there is the masculine, feminine, or karmic, they will be up live, so go through and take a look. And it has been interesting this week actually looking at these reads, really diving into them, because this is quite a significant month. We have been going through it since we moved into 2026, and we're going to get straight into the read and see how these individuals are faring into the first week of March. Now, it is really on point connected to it, and I did mention, especially with the positions of the North Node at the moment, karmic energies are really moving into a critical ending point. And, sometimes we can go through this in a very, very positive way. I don't think any of us are immune from having to go through this experience. However, what I do see coming up is, the individual really moving through the beginning of this cycle, the introduction to this cycle this week in a very tough way, and then really ending it in some revelations. And these can be some karmic revelations associated to the things that they've done, what the circumstance directly is, and we're going to get into the reasons why. Now, we do have with the crowning energy at the moment that this person is really resisting change. They're doing everything they can to avoid it, to put their head in the sand, although the frequency is really spiking. Now, the reason why is because they're looking at the nostalgia of the past, okay? They're living in the past. And, quite commonly we do that. Neptune, yes, it has transitioned, but the retrograde's happening at the moment in the realm of Pisces. And so this individual is hoping that if they go with the flow, things will change. Now, it's retrograding to give them a PDF of what exactly the circumstance is. They have been in that dream realm. They have been looking at a circumstance and wanting it to get back to where it used to be. And this read really is to do with the connection. So it's like where the connection was, how it used to be. This read in a karmic cycle can also pertain to a person who is no longer with the individual in question. And I think these old things, especially seen as we do tend to get these blasts from the past coming back, they're very nostalgic of how it used to be, not where the current status of where things are. So this is in that dream state, but they're looking back to it and they're like, is it where it used to be? When we move to the heart of it, this is the individual really needing to go in and use their intuition. And, the intuition really, when you think about it, has nothing to do with the heart. It's more to do with the ego. The heart feels, it just is. Whereas the intuition has some sense of ego attached to it, because their attachment within the pain body is actually wanting something to be that is not. And we have the crow in the background. It's almost like the ferryman coming in. We have this dark kind of energy oozing through the card, which is wanting to be safe. And sometimes we generally do feel safer in something we physically know. And, they're really mulling over this. This can be sleepless nights. This can be really trying to navigate that situation in a very tactical manner. They have, like I said, an ideal of what they want their life to be. Although sometimes it's not necessarily that we know that what we're wanting may not be best for us at the time. And this individual, I feel, can't really see the hay for the clouds, has a lot of anxiety going on, and is trying to create this experience that is really keeping them in this stuck kind of fantasy, pretty land, so to speak. Even though if they were to step back from that painting, they may acknowledge the fact at the time it was positive, but potentially in the here and now, it may not necessarily what they need to actually grow spiritually. I feel as though, and this is where I think things change. This is where I'm seeing that there is something that does create a shake-up, and this could be moving into the eclipse. I was really interested how this reading really was almost in two parts. You got the top half, and it was really discussing no, I don't want to change. I'm very connected to the past, and I'm using my mind to actually navigate this circumstance. And yes, in a very tactical way, it's quite natural that individuals do that. But then when we get to the foundation, we're really looking at very early on in the week, but yeah, potentially the third, fourth, we are looking at these individuals actually moving through the eclipse, and these can be some brutal realities. This is where the person is really forced to move beyond fantasy and illusion. And why is because it is linking to the South Node. So it's forcing them to look back at what? At the past, at the connection, what they had, where things were, what the truth is to the connection to the divine feminine and divine masculine also. And have to really look at that from a very logical point of view to get some bearings. What is real and what is fantasy? And there appears to be a feeling almost that there's a lot on their plate. There's a lot in the context of that is on their plate that they do need to take accountability. Sometimes we directly can look at these circumstances, and this is not a private booking, and that is the thing. And I think for some of you, it could be that that's what's really needed, especially when we do look at the deeper element of this, depending on the circumstances you're going through. One example, this person potentially may have known, go back to the crowning energy, don't want to change, I know where I'm going. I remember how this used to be. Sometimes this can be a shadow memory of how it felt to be in love. So in love for the sake of being in love, maybe really now thinking about, well, hang on a minute, was there another person that this person was connected to? Was this person really ready when they came into this relationship with me? Did I actually walk through this gate? This is almost like having to look at the data, having to look at the devil in the detail, and realizing they did actually have a part in this circumstance. So as I mentioned, this is going to be very individual, very, very individual. For some, it can be just merely realizing what part they have of responsibility. And there can be a lot of projection this week. And that is the danger of this cycle, to be aware that, yes, you could get phone calls, you could have these energies coming out of woodworks, wanting to hunt you down and find you for good and bad reasons. However, in the context of this read, this can be a very uncomfortable feeling for these individuals. This can feel as though they want to go back to that head in the sand. They want to go back to that feeling of, no, there's a bit of karma coming here. There is, and I was mentioning this to an individual the other day. There's different layers of karma. There's different ways karma can turn about. Sometimes it's a natural cause and effect. Other times it's positive. Other times, it's part of your destiny. Other times it's due to a behavior. So again, this is going to be very individual. There is a sense of responsibility and resolve, and it feels uncomfortable. It feels like it's connected to love, finances. It's like the dread of the world is dawning on them, and they're like, how am I going to navigate this? Something is coming to a close here. There could be something that is coming out that is actually causing this to happen. There could be a revelation that something is not going to be the same any longer. This could have been a conversation piece. We're going to go back and clarify, because I really want to dig deeper into this. But this outcome card really is almost like could it be a sudden shock? I think it's been a lead up to it, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think in the aftermath, this can be something that a process they do directly go through when they're realizing, well, hang on a minute. And it, when you do think about it, what do we do when we've had a shock? We actually, in the aftermath, we're actually sitting there going, what the heck just happened? How did I get to this? And then we realize, and it can be sometimes even weeks later, oh gosh, what part in that did I have? What hand in this did I have? For some reason, this person is now being forced to realize this is a new way of being. There is a new way of being ahead, be it they want it or not, and they're going to have to let go of the circumstance. This is a new chapter, and the hard part is this new chapter is occurring during retrogrades. It's happening during an eclipse. And, as much as we are guided to pause unless something directly is happening to us, maybe clean up shop, do the things that we need to do, which can be a lot popping off for us collectively, it's also going to give us a lot of revelations. And this person's having revelations that they have been living in this sense of false reality. So there's a how could I best describe it? It's almost like this super sense of anxiety streaming over them, and actually realizing what part in this they directly had. Now, could it be that there is a circumstance playing out to cause this? 100% there could be. We're going to go into clarifying and digging deeper into what else is going on here, because I really do think something has caused this. Okay, where is all this anxiety coming through inside their creating energy? They're really not wanting to change. It's almost predestined. And, destiny is, how can I put it? It's almost like this person is living a less reality. They're not living up to their full capacity in a positive way. Yeah, there is a need for maturity and growth there. And so they're trying to avoid that. They are almost stuck in a vortex of a time frame. Why are they perceiving this situation in the past as they do? Because they don't want to move forward. Okay. Yeah, their life has been difficult. They're not wanting to move forward. It was comfortable. That's an interesting way to describe life. It was comfortable. Okay. Interesting. It's really weird. In the heart of it, the clarifier is romance in reverse. And this is a person that's really needing to use their intuition. So this has absolutely, like I said it before, this has nothing to do with love now. It may have been at a point. It may have been at a point, but the intuition is a tactical approach to deal with something in the 3D world. This is not a heartfelt energy. It shows in the heart of it, and they're not even stuck. It's like they're wanting to stay in that vibration of how things used to be. This directly can be, this is where they feel safest, okay? This is maybe what they felt from a 3D. For some of them, it could be that they've even outgrown the excuses that they used many moons ago. And one flash that they actually gave me was, being connected, having the home, having your kids, etc. For some, it can be that the children are well and truly grown up and moved on. And so that excuse base that they had used of, it's what's best for the tribe, they're actually being removed from that to really tune into it and go, well, is this actually about that now, or is this about something else? Is this about safety and nurturance and, where we don't want to move outside the shell? And I feel this person's quite comfortable in where they are, even though they're technically not. Okay. Oh, God, that's an interesting clarifier. Okay, there's going to be a sharp shift in their reality of their foundation. We've literally got a building burning down. We've got the tower. It feels worse than that. It feels like a shock. It feels like something's come in to actually rip the carpet out from under them. It's like there's a cause and effect of consequence. They might have thought they had a little bit more time. Something's coming out of the woodworks there. Some information is coming out of the woodworks that was buried and hidden. There's definitely a consequence. Whatever they hid. Oh, this person wants out. The other individual involved in this circumstance is like, I want this cut off. I want this gone. I'm done. So I think they're not really seeing it the way the other person is. They have absolutely no intent to. The individual who was romantically entangled with them, funny I say entangled because it does feel severing or severed. There's two different realities that they're having. You know, one is very nostalgic and, hey, it can go back to the way it is. The other is like taking a tactical move to actually sever the ties. And this is a severing of ties in a way we haven't seen before. They could be digging up some dirt and trash so that they can have some personal closure, the other person who's involved. And it's because they want to be free from this. It's also because this individual is to take responsibility for what they've done and to take responsibility for their future moving forward. This is big. I'm going to look at this outcome card one more time. We may get some details about what this is linking to, because it does feel maybe we're not meant to know. But I definitely feel as though they do directly have an outcome coming. It's almost like a judgment. This is for both parties. What comes up is for both parties so that they can actually get on their destined path. We have the medicine woman, medicine man. It's the yin to the yang. Yeah, okay. These are, oh, wow, that's interesting. In the heart space, this has kept both parties bound in a knot and not in a good way. It's all, yeah, it's, you know, the card directly asks from a clearing point of view, and I think it's quite naturally coming up regardless. In the heart chakra, it is like two individuals being bound in a net inside the heart chakra that no longer want to be there, that aren't meant to be there. Ask the angels to release any toxic energies that you may have absorbed. And this is to do with the joint connection between the two individuals. This does not matter whether they are or aren't together. This is something that is being untangled. Okay, let's look on the other person's side who was involved or involved with the karmic. Yeah, they're trying to work through releasing it. They're like they feel stuck and something is coming along to untangle. I do feel there's something they directly could be doing. Their guides are supporting them with it. Okay. What is coming from this person's past, the karmic's past, to cause this? They haven't covered all their tracks. Ooh, wow, that's full on. Oh, yeah. That's very interesting. We have somebody on their side that is actually stepping forward to disclose something. And it's not from the other person's side. This is interesting. It's almost like coming from a very unlikely source. And I don't think either party here actually will expect this. I really don't. This could even be family. We will check in with this energy next week. Yes, we do release the masculine, feminine, and karmic. And if you do need a private booking, you can come through and join our Sage in a Circle network. That will be open soon. It is our private subscription network that has our pre-release content, coaching, and more. I'd love to hear how this played out. Don't forget to tell me how it played out for you. And good luck through this eclipse energy.